Well, hey, everyone. It's Tina, and
And Dr. Michael Gross. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it so much. We've got some wonderful things to talk to you about this very evening.
we are thrilled that you're popping in Sunday night, 7 o'clock. It's our usual pop in time, right? So
Absolutely.
I'm here because, well, I get to be his sidekick, which I think is really great. You know, he has a powerful message, and I just come along for the ride. Yeah. um, on that note, though, we have a powerful topic for you, and I'm going to get right to it uh, in a sec. Because first, if you don't know, Dr. Michael Gross is the author of the Spiritual Primer.
And Tio Knapp is the author of Healing the Holes in Your Soul, a beautiful, wonderful book of survival, of transformation. A must read.
And shall we say, this little message is brought to you by these two books
Yes.
and the sponsors of it, right? How do we do that? We don't make a very good commercial. I'm a little bit.
We'll have to rewrite the commercial.
Yeah. Well, we don't script anything, okay? We have one little part that I read, and that's all we do. But all the contact information and whatnot will be in the comments. So definitely make sure you save the comments or jot everything down. Michael has a powerful message for us, and I highly recommend that you start with this book because this book and this wonderful man over here is the reason the book that he's holding got is has been written. Okay, so start with this book. It's phenomenal. And would you like to take a minute and just let them know you've got a new one coming out?
I have a new edition coming out. It'll be the second edition of the Spiritual Primer, and there'll be some additional information, including a rough outline, a brief outline, rough, whatever you want to call it, of the 12 manifestation protocols, which works well in combination with the Spiritual Primer.
Perfect.
And I'll let you know when it's there. Hopefully, the book designer will be through with it by Tuesday or Wednesday, and then it's going to go to the printer, and hopefully we'll get it out real quickly. But I'll keep you posted.
Yeah, be watching Michael's Facebook page for that. I'm going to put this down.
Yes.
And I wanted to let you know that um, he has a phenomenal message. And what we do, the only scripted part that we do, and sometimes I get a little bit sidetracked on this as well, but I read this part because we really need to let everyone know the integrity of this incredible man.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Dr. Michael Gross is an author, professional keynote speaker, transformational coach, and an entrepreneur. For more than 3 decades, he has been on a spiritual path as an intuitive, a healer, a spiritual counselor, and an incredible teacher. Through the guidance of spirit, Michael has assisted others in their personal quest for self empowerment, helping them to create the lives that they have long sought and to bring forth their very own intuitive abilities. Michael currently teaches classes in spirituality, self empowerment, Reiki, and other modalities. In concert with God, the true source, he has also achieved great success and miraculous healings. He remains humble. I embarrassed him. I'm sorry. He, he remains humble, knowing that the work that he does all comes from God, the true source. Michael lives in Lakewood, Washington, and has recently launched his nonprofit. And I would love it if you would share just a few minutes.
Absolutely. The International Institute of Self Empowerment. It's a beautiful nonprofit. Spirit told me to form a nonprofit. Didn't know what I was supposed to do with it, but it's, technically it's a 501c3. And it's going to have 12 arms. Seems everything I do in 12s. So the 12 spiritual laws.
I was just going to say, did you have 12 kids?
The 12 manifestation protocols. And the International Institute will have 12 arms. And the first arm, of course, after meeting to you and realizing what a remarkable, wonderful, strong woman that she is and how she's overcome so much in her life, that I decided the first arm will be dedicated to helping abused women, children, and men. It's been a little slow in getting off, but we're starting to get it going now. And I decided that Tiu is so good at what she does, and she can help so many women and children and men, that made her director of that division of what I call abuse, women, children, and men. So I'm so honored to have her as director of it. And, I know we've been talking about it for a long time, but it's getting closer and closer to making this work. So I want to thank you so much. Keep you posted.
It's exciting times,
Yes,
right,
it
Michael?
is.
Yeah, we're really thrilled, and definitely just keep following us. And Michael's also got a Facebook page. I meant YouTube page. So a lot of the information's up there as well. But we'll talk about that later. Let's get on with the topic.
All
Right,
right.
Michael?
Right.
You ready? The topic is: Are you a prisoner of your past?
So everyone, so thank you so much. I thought I'd discuss this because I'm working with so many people and working with so many beautiful souls that I realize that they are stuck in a prison of their own past. And it's something for really of all of us to take a look at our past. And Spirit said the past predicts the present predicts the future. And therefore, sometimes we don't realize the things that have occurred in our past keep us locked in a certain behavior or direction in our life. And that's so important for us. So, henceforth, as it says in my hat, you are unlimited. I would like to everybody think about that. So, let's look at our past. Everything that happened in the past was something that you needed to experience in this lifetime. And by that, I mean, we come down to the basics: self worth, self love, and self esteem. And I say this to everybody over and over and over again, but it comes in different colors, it comes in different ways. Sometimes it's hardly noticeable. And some of us have grown up and bullied because we're supposed to learn to stand up for ourselves. Some of us have been abused. Some of us have been ostracized. Some of us have been criticized. All these things that have gone on. And we just call this part of life. And I do call it part of life. But it's all about empowering you. And if you stop to think for a moment, are you a prisoner of your past? What did you learn in the past that blocked you or slowed you down or make you feel unworthy or not good enough? So think about that. What is it in your life? And I meet people that said their parents said you'll never be good enough or you'll never be successful enough. Or maybe your teacher said you were dumb or stupid or you'll never achieve anything. Or maybe your friends make fun of you. But just think, the story, there's a couple of stories, but I believe his name is Fred Smith. And so Fred Smith, I forget what Ivy League college he went to, but I believe he was working on his master's. And he turned around and talked about overnight delivery, quick delivery, et cetera, et cetera. And the professors made fun of him, they laughed at him, and he wouldn't allow himself to be a prisoner of what he learned at college in the past. By the way, that man founded FedEx. Pretty
Wow.
crazy. Pretty
Wow.
wonderful, which then spawned USPS, United States Postal Service. And they're delivering overnight as well now, and UPS. And then there are other companies. But the biggest of them, of course, is FedEx. And FedEx has their own airplanes, their own delivery system. But he didn't allow himself to be judged by that. And then, of course, we look at Steve Jobs. He founded a computer company. And what he founded was Apple, and it spawned from Apple. And they made fun of him. And he had this belief, and he worked out of his garage. And so did Bill Gates. And now we have Microsoft. So we have all these different dreams and everything that went on. But a great story is UNIVAC. UNIVAC was by Sperry Rand. It was the first gigantic computer.
I remember.
And here they had UNIVAC. Everybody laughed at him. And all it did was plus and minus. Very simple. Big, huge machine. They made fun of it. And IBM said, I think I see a vision. So they bought it. And then if you remember the UNIVAC, IBM had these huge machines. I remember in the company I worked for, they had to have an air-conditioned room to keep it cool because it produced heat. You couldn't buy it from them, by the way. You had to rent it. And they had these little punch cards, and then it would read it and give you information. And you look at one story after another after another. They wouldn't allow themselves to be prisoner of their past. So now that's a macrocosm. Now we look at the microcosm. The microcosm is your life. And how many times have you said you could do this or that? People went and laughed at you. Problem is when we're insecure and we really don't believe what we're doing is right because we want proof, you ask others. Well, if you ask 10 people, you get 10 opinions. You ask 20 people, you get 20 opinions. The other day I was at my dentist, and the dental hygienist and I were talking. He said, I had this dream. I wanted to take floss and put little knots in it so it would help pull out, whatever's caught between your teeth. And I just thought about it. Maybe it's ridiculous. Maybe it wouldn't work. And someone else came up with the idea of making a lot of money because he didn't have faith or belief in it. Something so simple. And think about the things, some of you younger may not remember this, but the hula hoop. Somebody developed the hula hoop, everybody laughed. What a huge craze it was. Oh my gosh. It was unbelievable because he didn't listen to other people.
It's like the pet rocks.
That's what I was going to address next. So there was the story of the man, I remember, that he bought some land in Mexico and had a ton of rocks. He didn't know what to do with them. So he was creative and he made little faces on them. And he called it a pet rock. And it was a craze for a couple of years. Just a plain rock painted. What are you doing? It's stupid. It's ridiculous. It became a great phase.
He probably made a lot of
He
money at
made
that,
millions.
didn't he?
He made millions.
Wow.
And what was his cost on it, really, other than marketing? It was free. Some paint and a face on it.
Oh my gosh.
Pretty amazing.
Oh, I think people still have those.
Some of them do, yeah.
Wow.
So that's what I mean by being a prisoner of your past. Is whatever your belief system, maybe they were correct at that time. But if I said to you back in the 60s, or 70s, we're going to communicate on this little square box and there's going to be a camera and we're going to talk to each other and so on. And it's going to be called Zoom. Yeah, right. You're stupid, Michael. What are you smoking? What are you eating or drinking, right? That's what we used to say. Here we are on Zoom. No, well, not on Zoom, but right now we're talking to the computer and talking to you. And all these things that were just incredible. So when I grew up, they had Dick Tracy were talking to his watch and so on. Cartoons, some of you may remember that. Well, they actually had a watch you can talk to. Now, of course, you've got your cell phones.
I think you can also talk to your Apple Watch. I'm not sure. I don't have one,
Okay.
but I think you can.
It's pretty amazing.
You can talk to Alexa.
Yes. Isn't it great how things have changed? Now, I talk about all these changes and all these wonderful things that are happening. But most importantly, we're going to go back to the microcosm. The microcosm is, what is it in your life that is stopping you from going forward? What is that fear? Fear, false evidence appearing real. And I've talked again about failure means success because it means you learned what worked and didn't work. Somehow these words have a different connotation. So if we look at the word fearful, it's really just an illusion. Who empowers your fear? You do. Who makes it work? You do. Who removes the block of it? You do. Got a message here? Who's in charge of your life? You are. Don't you think you deserve more? Don't you think you deserve more joy and happiness? Don't you think you deserve having fun in your life? Our life is so gosh darn busy with one thing after another. And what do we do? I notice parents, what do they do with the kids? Well, they make play dates. My day, we used to knock on the door. Hey, can Johnny come out or Jane come out and play? That's what we did. We made our own play dates. Now they make play dates. Now, I realize we don't live as close as we used to, but there are plenty of kids around the block. And then what do? We'll go play with your computer or go play with this. I'm busy. And we don't spend time with our families because we are a prisoner of high technology. And what do? We're so busy working, we have to get a fix. The fix is, I got to go out and drink. I got to party. I got to do this. I got to release that. Instead of good old-fashioned things. You want to release tension? Take a long walk or jog. You want to release tension? Play a little sport like racquetball, tennis, or volleyball, or maybe softball, or do something like that. Go out and do something. So what do? We go to the gym when we have time and work out. Then we're busy working. We come home, we're tired. Kids want to talk to us. Hi, we spend a few minutes with the kids, and then boom, we watch TV or we go on the computer You ever go out to a restaurant? Everybody's on their phones all the time. I mean,
They're
I've been
texting
to
from across the, excuse me for interrupting. They're texting one another across the table. You know, mom and dad are there, and the kids are texting back and forth to one another. So mom and dad don't know what they're saying.
I mean, I have to compliment my son because, he really didn't want to give, cell phones to his children. They're younger, but the ones that have it, they're not allowed to use it at the dinner table. And he's a restaurateur in Durham, North Carolina, a little free, promotion there. And, on a Sunday night, he has family night. And there's a big basket. You're coming to his restaurant, one of those Bull City Burger and Brewery, and it's just that. And you have to put your cell phones in a basket. You are not allowed to use your cell phones. Everybody knows that's the rule. And Papieri Pizza is another one. You have to do the same thing. And he has a third one that, is really beginning to open up and getting rolling, and I'll announce that later if he gives me a complimentary hamburger. I can be bought off for a good hamburger. But anyway,
You're funny. You're funny.
it's really very important for us to learn how to communicate because that's the way we grew up in the early days. We communicated. And your grandparents did that, and we lost that. Of course, the communication I get, well, why do I have to do it? Because I said so. That was the answer. Of course, that didn't really suffice, but if you didn't, you got slapped. So you learn to acquiesce whatever your parents said. But we learn more by observing because when we hurt ourselves, there we lose our parents right there consoling ourselves. And, our parents set up rules. And the rules were, Michael, you have to graduate high school, you have to go to college, you have to have a vocation. Well, I tell you, I did that to my children. They're very, very successful entrepreneurs today because they set up the rules. Even though they moaned and groaned and all those words, we don't see it anymore. What we see is giving 6 and 7, 8-year-olds, just whatever they want to do. Well, we all have to grow up with rules. That's life. Rules like you can't kill, you can't steal, you shouldn't lie, you should be honest, things like that. So there's certain immutable rules that we have to live by. Call them the 10 Commandments, call them whatever you want, the laws of the Constitution, whatever you so desire. But all that has become mutable. Well, we make up excuses. So if we are looking about being a prisoner of our past, one of the things we need to do is learn how to communicate more clearly. And we need to understand that in the communications, you need to say to your partner, to yourself, this is my behavior. And then you need to ask yourself, nobody else, why is my behavior this way? Why do I feel this way? Why do I react this way? Well, I'm afraid of being judged, criticized, put down, so on and so forth. And then what's going on now, there's a group of people that unless you agree with them, you get a label and you're put down and judged. But you're not allowed to express yourself freely, whatever your belief is, because if they feel that you're criticizing them, they put you a label on you. You're not allowed to put a label on them. So we become a prisoner of what is going on in our life. And of course, every word I'm saying to you right now is in the past by milliseconds. So when I say you're a prisoner of your past, we have to look at our behavior. The one thing we need to understand is we are all created equal. We really are. But we choose our life path. And our life path depends upon our fears and doubts, which makes us prisoners of our past. And that's so important for us to realize. You choose. And that's the important word, your choice, which means you can remain stuck, you can go backwards, you can go forwards, or the fight or flight or frozen syndrome. Now I'm giving you a lot of information now, food to think about, but there's so much I want to share with you. And I'll probably in the next wonderful Sunday evening, what I call a podcast, share more of this information. But I would like you to be thought-provoking. And I would like you to do some critical thinking. And the critical thinking is, am I stuck? Am I a prisoner of the past? and what is necessary for me to free myself. Now, you can ask 1,000 people and you get 1,000 opinions, or you go to a psychologist or a psychiatrist, or whatever you so desire. Or you can take some kind of medication to take away the anxiety, which in some cases may be a good idea, but it's a temporary band-aid. And the reason I say that is the medication, which helps you to cope better, gives you the opportunity to clear up whatever your prisoner, whatever your fear and doubt is in your life, to move forward. And that's one thing we need to take a look right now. Our whole world is changing. Some of it's going to be phenomenal. Some of it's going to be very exciting. Some of it's going to be very limiting and very frightening. But no matter what happens in your world, your life, your family, you are part of, and you can contribute to and change anything you so desire. I remember I used to be in the nursing home business, and I had one of the people on my staff, and we were talking about the Great Depression. And he said, he grew up in Brooklyn, New York, and of course, my nursing home was in the Boston area. And we had a conversation. I said, well, how'd you make out? He said, well, he said, I was 5 and 6 years old, 1929, 1930. And when we had leather soles in our shoes because that's all they had. Wore them out, we put cardboard in. We just did what we had to do. And there wasn't much money. And I would sell newspapers on the corner. And the cops would chase me because I was too young. But I'd take all the pennies I made and I'd bring them home to my mom. And then it was very cold in winter, in the Northeast. And he followed the coal trucks. Well, in those days, the coal trucks, they would have these big linen bags and they would pour coal into it, walk over and pour it down a chute. And they keep going back and forth till a quarter of a ton or a ton, whatever you ordered. And they would drop pieces of coal and they never picked them up. And he would have a big bag and he would follow the coal truck and pick up 2 or 3 pieces here, 2 or 3 pieces here, 2 or 3 pieces here. And he would get home. And then remember, 6 years old, he would start the furnace and throw the coal in so they would have enough heat at night. He didn't complain. He just did whatever he needed to do.
6 years old.
6 years old.
That's crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
No, but that was the values that he was taught.
Right.
Wow.
And that's so important for us to realize. And so I asked my dad, well, what did you during the Great Depression? He said, he said, I sold furniture at a furniture store for commission. I said, okay. He said, I didn't sell anything. I didn't make any money. I usually made about $80 a month. I said, oh, well, $80? He said, yeah. And I remember some of you may have, before I was in the nursing home business, I was the head of a chain of delis and ice cream stores. And one of the purveyors was in poultry, and I got to know them really well. I'd go there and pick up the poultry or whatever we needed. And there was a little bill of sales rather, dated 1930 or 31. Chicken was 2 cents a pound.
Wow.
Steak was 4 cents a pound. Turkey was 3 cents a pound. Milk was 1 cent, a bottle. And I looked at all this and I went, wow, $80 a month. So the rents were $5 and $10 a month. And my father said, when things were really tight and I make a lot of money and, I had to take care of my family. So he said he would go into a saloon, get a schooner of beer for a nickel. And there they had a smorgasbord of food. They had roast beef and they had turkey and they had ham and they had chicken and vegetables and all this stuff. And it sat out there because they didn't check on the temperature all the time. And that's how they survived. The important thing is we're coming to a time we're talking about inflation. And now's the time to be creative. But that creativity that we have to be because of inflation right now, it's always been there. And because we've been a prisoner of our past, we lost the creativity now. So now we have to be more creative. And that's so important. So as I say, inflation, so I don't eat steak, I'll eat hamburger or I'll have vegetables. Who the heck cares? I don't care. And that's the attitude we need. remember, you need to do that critical thinking to release being a prisoner of your past, because the past predicts the present predicts the future. I know we're winding down, and I want to leave you with this thought. And that thought is that you are the director of your own life. You're the creator of your life. You don't need to be stuck or frozen or fight or flight syndrome. You need to be creative. Sleep on it, look for it, and the opportunities are there. So thank you so much for listening to me. And I think we're running out of time.
We're winding down, yeah. We've got a few minutes left, but not much. And I wanted to make sure we respect everybody else's time. It's their Sunday night. And we're really thrilled that everybody's coming to join us on Sunday and listen to Michael's phenomenal messages. And, you had nothing but a wealth of words, a wealth of information and I thought the very same thing. Like, I'm not a prisoner of my past, but I was. And today it's a whole lot different. And when you realize that, when you look back on what's your part in things you were asking, well, what is my part in this? What do I do to not fall victim to the old fears? Amelia Earhart had a quote that she said, fear is a paper tiger. And when we look beyond that fear, we realize exactly what's driving us forward and backwards. If we're not going forward, then we're stuck, like you said, fear, flight, or fight, right?
Right.
Yeah. So on that note, I do want to go ahead and respect everybody's time. Thank you all for coming. We have a little bit of announcements. And what I wanted to do was have Michael share with you. We do this one on Sunday nights at 7. Michael also has something on Tuesdays. So why don't you let them know?
Yes, Tuesday I call it the call-in and words of wisdom. And from 6:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Pacific time, what you do is you call in, you ask questions, and I deliver a 10-minute motivational message. And it's so important for you to all of us to join each other. You got great questions. You really challenge me. And I love being challenged in that way. And you all have open minds. But the most important thing for us to remember is that when you call in and ask these questions, you gain new knowledge. And of course, the motivational message, which is different than what I'm talking to you right now, it's about 10 to 12 minutes. So I invite all of you, because what is going on now will be created now. We need to have a good support group. And I call it the Great Gathering. People like mine are gathering to support and love one another. So I invite all of you to join us. And the telephone number for that is, because it's doing done on freeconferencecall.com.
That number is 202-926-1059. And the access
code is 125-446-POUND. And the reason I do it on freeconferencecall.com, you could be eating dinner. You don't have to put on lipstick or get dressed up. You can be doing in your pajamas or your workout suit or whatever you're doing, and nobody's going to know. That's why I do that.
You can sit in your car and just be a fly on the wall and listen. No one needs to even know you're there.
And you don't have to ask a question, just listen.
It's powerful. One more time, that number is 202-926-1059.
And the access code is 125-446-POUND.
Okay, so for the recordings that he does on Tuesday, at the end of that call, I'll give you the number for that as well. And you can go ahead and let them know how many recordings you've got.
I think we have 251. And it starts at recording number 3 and it goes to 251. And all you do is you call in, which Tia is going to give you the number, and you tell them what number you want to listen to, between 3 and 251. Don't worry. You'll always pick the right one, and it'll be the message you need to hear. And that telephone number is?
Okay, there you go. It's 434-300-4170. And the access code?
125-446-POUND.
I'll give that one again. It's 434-300-4170.
And the access code is 125-446-POUND. And I want to add one more thing to that, if I may. If you go to Dr. Michael B, initial B, Gross, and you go on to YouTube, not only will you see the podcast that she and I do, but there are recorded messages, and you can listen to some of them as well. So you can either listen to it on the phone or you can go to YouTube. But if you go to YouTube, please push subscribe so that we know people are following and listening, because it's really important to get these messages out. Because I want to share something with you. Every word has a frequency and a vibration and an energy. And these messages are what I call God the true source and true source inspired. This is something I just don't write. It just comes forth. We use the word channeling. So these have a lot of powerful energy behind them. So I just wanted to share that with you, and I'm going to have more exciting news in a couple of weeks about that. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay, what else do you do on the second Saturday of the
Second
month?
Saturday of every month, which is so important. Can't tell you how important it is. What we do at Pacific time, 9:55 a.m. Pacific time to 11:01 Pacific time, second Saturday of every month, we do a mass consciousness healing. And what happens, I talk for 2 or 3 minutes, maybe a little more or less, then we're into silence, and then 2 minutes before it ends, I come back on. It's so important. You will experience something that is most important. You're going to feel the love and joy of the true source coursing through your body. Please join us. And that number is?
Almost forgot. That number is the same as the Tuesday night call-in. It's 202-926-1059. And
the access code is 125-446 pound.
On that note, I'll also make sure that all of these are in the comments, and that way you can have a copy of it when you go back. We don't take any of these recordings down on Facebook or on YouTube, so you can go in and watch them if you're not always able to be there on a Tuesday, on a Sunday night. It's totally okay. And like I said, like Michael said, it's Dr. Michael, the initial B, Gross. And when you do that, you'll see him up on YouTube. And definitely subscribe and share it with your friends. Invite your friends to watch it and also to listen to the recordings, because it's well worth your time. Powerful messages every single night. You can watch a video every night. We've got over about a year and a half's worth,
yes,
if not more. So on that note, we're going to give you guys a great big round of. Okay, wait, Michael's got something.
Just one more thought. I had a student who unfortunately birthed out, and he was doing a meditation. In the meditation, he told me this is what he got from his angels and guides. And so I always like to give credit to everybody who gives anything to me to share. And this is what the message was. There's no yesterday, there's no tomorrow, there's only the now and the forever. And I want to repeat that. There is no yesterday, there's no tomorrow. There's only the now and the forever. Remember that. Because you are unlimited. Namaste. Thank you. Don't forget.
Don't forget the book.
All right, everyone. Brought to you by Healing the Holes in Your Soul.
And the Spiritual Primer. Thank you so much.
Have a great evening, everyone. We love you.
We love you. Namaste.
Namaste.